Now, there are a few disadvantages and risks to the storage as a service model, and you need to be aware of these when assessing this option. And for starters, there are trust and privacy issues because, of course, the data is not physically under your control in terms of its location. It resides in a data center at the provider location. So, whether or not you feel that that's adequate is certainly your call, but in some cases it's not even permitted. So, you need to be aware of that. But of course, you are placing your trust in the provider to maintain the security and the privacy of that data. But one of the other issues is that the data centers, all of the hardware and the resources that you are using are ultimately shared by other customers as well. So you need some pretty high assurances that the data is protected, it is kept private, and that there aren't any issues with storing it with the provider. The security, of course, there's shared file access and encryption features that are both supported. So you need to make sure that it's very clear as to who is able to gain access to files and whether or not there are encryption mechanisms in place to enhance the security of that information. Reliability, and these are the kinds of things that you expect to see in a service level agreement in terms of the percentage of uptime. So you simply want to keep an eye out for the highest service level agreement possible. The speed certainly can be slower than local saves, backups, and or retrievals because of course you are using the internet to transfer the files back and forth from your location up to the cloud. And that in and of itself might be one of the largest risks, simply not having access to the internet at all. You are entirely dependent on internet connections when you move to any kind of cloud-based services. So a loss of connectivity means loss of services from the provider as well. Document control issues, another thing you need to be aware of. A lot of environments these days might implement some kind of versioning control or possibly security features such as rights management access, who can do what with a document. So it needs to be very clear as to what is supported, and some of those features may not be supported in a storage as a service model. High initial bandwidth usage and, of course, ongoing costs in terms of bandwidth for very large files. If you do start to implement a lot of large files in the cloud, then you certainly are going to pay for that because the more you use, the more you pay. So keeping your cost control at a manageable level is always